Welcome to the first ever retro barroom interview. This morning I came up with the idea that I'll run some Friday morning interviews. That idea came to me about half an hour ago while I was working out. So due to time constraints and when you're the only person in the house, your guest list is limited. So this morning I'm going to be interviewing the host of Kel Lee's Trivia Show, which also happens to be me. So for this interview, I'm going to be asking myself some questions, and just so you can keep track of who's who, the host will be in this chair, the guest will be in this chair. So this morning I'd like to welcome on stage Kel Lee from Kel Lee's Trivia Show right here in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Hey, it's great to be here this morning. I'm glad you could ask me to come and be part of this very first show. I'd like to get word out about my show, so we might as well get rolling here. Well, I'm glad you could make it here. I needed a guest. I'm glad you could show up. Well, I didn't have very far to go, so it was easy. I was here. So, what would you like to know about Kel Lee's Trivia Show? Well, I guess first thing would be, how did you ever get involved in trivia? What was your break? How'd you do it? Well, I used to play trivia for quite a number of years up at the White Swan Tuesday evenings, and originally they would never let me get close to a live mic. And then about back in, I'm going to say it was maybe March, the guy who did host trivia, spur of the moment, he couldn't make it one night. His trivia company, it was last minute, they couldn't provide a substitute. And we were just going to bag it for the evening, and then one of the ladies that played on another trivia team said, she'll try and find some questions real quick. If she finds questions, will I hang out and play? I said, well, I'll tell you how this is going to work. If it's only for fun, I got other things to do, but I'll make you a deal. If I can read the questions, I'll hang out. And so one thing led to the other. She printed the questions. I filled in on the spur of the moment. Took it very serious because there was a lot of times where I would, coerce the trivia host into letting me read a question, and like I say, nobody would even let me close to that mic until the very last host prior to myself. He would let me read a question or two every night, and it went well. I behaved myself, and so I got that opportunity, and then he came back the next week, and that was it. So you filled in for a week and then you just went back to playing? Well, yes, I did. And then probably the end of April, that same particular trivia host had a unfortunate circumstance that basically made him unavailable for quite some time. And so therefore the White Swan was faced with either having a permanent sub through their current entertainment company, or could they ask me? They chose to ask me. The only thing I can think of is when I filled in that one night, maybe 6 weeks prior to this, I look back on that as my audition or my interview. And because I took it serious and, I think I did a decent job, they thought, okay, well, maybe this dude knows what he's doing. So they got a hold of me. They asked if I'd be interested to do it on a weekly basis. And one thing led to the other, and I said yes. I agreed to provide all the questions. I could use their sound system, which made it easy because I didn't have my own at the time. And so I started doing trivia there. Like I say, they asked if they should provide the questions. I knew right from the get-go, if I'm going to read these questions to people, I want to write them. I want to know I have them. I want to be able to research them before I read them, so that if there's, we still get occasional conflicts on answers, but very infrequently, because I do research the answers when I make up the questions. Whereas somebody else writes them for me, then I'd either have to sit down and research them. If I get handed them that night, I got to take what I'm given. And I really didn't like that. I sort of like to be a little bit more in control in that. All right, well, after that, then, have you picked up any other shows? What's trivia been like? Well, after I did it at the White Swan for maybe a month or so and felt comfortable doing it, I did pursue some other venues, and I was very fortunate. I hooked up with Branson's Restaurant over in Denver. For Thursday night, I do it Tuesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. at the White Swan every week, every Tuesday. And I was fortunate enough to know the owner that opened Branson's. It reopened this early spring, and he was looking to build business. We got together, and well, he graciously agreed to give me a shot Thursday nights from 7 to 9. And the White Swan, when I started doing it there, I inherited, basically inherited the crowd that would come every Tuesday. I do feel I have brought in some other teams there, but basically it's the crowd that has been there. The thing I look proudly on at Branson's, I started my trivia there at a restaurant that, at the time really didn't have a whole lot of guests coming, period. And from the very get-go on Thursday nights, they have a patio there that seats maybe 65 to 70 people. And there's been a few Thursday evenings when the weather was nice that patio was packed. And it was packed with everybody playing trivia. So everybody likes that. The owner's making money, the waitresses are making tips, I have a full crowd, so it works great there. And because of that, the same owner owns an establishment over in what's known as Stoutburg Village, outside Adamstown, right along 272. And there's a restaurant in that village known as the Village House. And he thought, hey, I had let him know I'm looking for more gigs, and he thought, okay, well, while the getting's good, I'm going to grab you on a Sunday afternoon. So last Sunday was my first venue at the Village House. We do it 1 to 3 there. Excellent venue for trivia. Big dining room, excellent acoustics. You can play in the dining room, you can play in the bar room. My first week there was people on the patio there. All I did was set my speaker on the windowsill, and they could hear me too. So inside, outside, bar room, dining room, there's no place that you can't play in the Village House. It very much lends itself to trivia. So right now I got 3 venues every week. Tuesday at the White Swan and Thursday at Branson's, both 7 to 9 in the evening. And the Village House in Stoutburg Village just started out last week, but it's a weekly venue, 1 to 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. They have football on the big screen, so you can play trivia, eat, drink, watch football, wrap everything into one big fun afternoon there. All right, well, hey, that sounds really great. Do you have anything else in the works? What's the future hold for this? Well, I'll tell you what. It just so happens that this coming Saturday, October 20th, a local brewery here, Black Forest Brewery, is sponsoring and running a Oktoberfest event from 1 to 4 p.m. Saturday afternoon in the Ephrata Park. And they're going to have a German band. There's a number of breweries coming in. There's a number of food trucks. There's going to be some contests. And they got a hold of me, and I'm going to be emceeing that event. And then that same day, later on in the evening, 6 to 8, back on Oak Street at the Black Forest Brewery, we're having an after party. And I'm going to run a special Saturday evening trivia show right there at the Black Forest. Again, they're going to tent the patio. So we got inside and outside play there. I really actually expect a pretty big crowd there, to be honest. The place usually gets full so as it is. So hopefully I can even draw in a few more people. I do a lot of social media advertising. I'm sure people that are on my Facebook probably get sick of seeing things, but I figure, unless I sort of embed my name in people's heads, and at the same time looking for even some more venues maybe. I'm working in conjunction with a local establishment on possibly putting together trivia with a little bit different twist to it here in Ephrata, looking to maybe kick that off the very beginning of the year after the holidays. Again, that's in the very early stages, but it sounds like an exciting thing. We just have to sort of talk to some other venues and see if they'll jump on board with it. But if they do, it'll be a great thing. So it's sort of dependent on a group of venues going together for this particular event. But hopefully it works out. So you pretty much do this whole deal yourself. Like, you write the questions, you provide sound, you ask the questions, you print out everything you need. Well, actually, at the moment, yes. I do pretty much take care of everything. You know, I spend a couple days a week, you know, an hour here, an hour there, making my trivia up for my 3 venues. I print everything out. I use my own sound system, except for at the White Swan. And when I do use my own sound system, I do throw in a couple music audio questions. And, you know, I can put in as many as I want. I usually do like 4 in the first round. Our trivia format, for those who haven't been there, we do 4 rounds of 10 questions, plus a bonus question each round. So you have a total of 44 questions. The bonus questions are worth 5 points, one of them each round. Rounds 1, 3, and 4, it's 1-point questions. Round number 2 is 2-point questions. Doesn't mean they're any harder, it's just something to mix things up a little bit. But anyway, when I use my own sound system, I have the ability to use my phone via Bluetooth to my speaker to play little blurbs of songs. You may name that tune, name that artist. I've done TV show themes, movie themes. You know, I get that out of the way early so I don't have to mess with my phone and my speaker throughout most of the evening. But, you know, you never know. I can make up specific trivia rounds. You know, if you're an organization that would like to focus on trivia for this event or this town or whatever, you know, I have them capabilities. If, you know, if you want to use trivia as a company team building event or maybe a school for test prep, you know, I could probably throw something together for that. You know, right now it's random trivia questions, primarily in restaurant, bars, pub quiz night type stuff. But the other thing is, as I continue to grow, I'm sort of at the point now where, you know, I do all my shows and everything, but if something would come up, I would really like to find a, I'm going to say a capable substitute at this point, with the idea that if I get enough venues and I double book a night, you know, maybe the substitute actually becomes an associate host that, you know, I would pay